Hi, folks. Happy Wednesday this week. Welcome back to the PagerDuty Twitch channel. I'm Mandy Walls, DevOps advocate here at PagerDuty. Today, we're talking process automation release notes. I've got Jake with me. He's fully geared up with his zip up and his hat on, because Forrest is not with us this week. So,
thanks, Mandy. Yeah, it's become a tradition that we have to follow.
Exactly.
Exactly. I don't usually wear this sort of outfit to the office, so only for special occasions like this.
Exactly. Yeah, super important. So this week we've got 4.7.0. So what's new? What's going on here?
Quite a few things are going on. We released a couple of pretty cool enhancements and new features. So I'll describe it at a high level, and we can jump into the docs and then go through a demo. Great, thanks for posting the docs in there. So the first main highlight that I think people are most interested in is this ROI metrics data, which is in its initial release is in an incubating state. So we're getting it out there to gather feedback, gather concrete use cases as well, but it's intentionally purpose-built to be general purpose. But what it does is it allows users to define an ROI metric on a per job basis. And then when that job is executed, it tracks that ROI metric was basically committed or accrued. And so you can, for each job execution, you can see, okay, whether it was time saved or dollars saved or escalations avoided per execution, you can see that data. And then via API, we've made it easy to look at, retrieve all of that data for all those executions. And so our next iteration of this will be to make it easy for users to then see that data in their BI tools like Tableau and Looker and Power BI. And so you can start to really analyze your ROI based off of all of these job invocations.
Oh, that's super cool. So like if I say, okay, I know this job, when I have to ask this team to do it, it's going to take them 3 hours or whatever it is with the ticket time and whatever else. And if I just give it self-service, then I take all that time away and.
Exactly. Wow. So for self-service, infrastructure provisioning, may have used to take 30 minutes, and now the job itself might take a few seconds. But regardless of what that job duration is, you're saving, that whatever that average ticket time duration was. That's what you're saving per execution, and so
you declare. Awesome.
Yeah, so we can dive into the product and show what that looks like in a second. So that's number one, and people are obviously very interested in that. That's been a common request, and it's too bad Forrest isn't here because he had a lot of input on the design of that. But like I said, our next iteration of that, and we're always looking for feedback from the community on this, but our next iteration on that will be making it easy to then pipe that data to data warehouses to then be visualized in BI tools.
Awesome.
So then the next major enhancement, it's actually number 3 on the highlights page of our docs for those that are on the docs release history page, is this enhanced progress badge plugin. So we've had this progress badge plugin out for a while, and what it's allowed users to do is basically state some status for a given job step, meaning like, okay, my job has made it to step 3, so let's output some text that we've completed step 3, and so that's why it's called progress badge. It's like letting the end user know, like, okay, we've made it to such and such step, but it's meant to like provide like simplified, a simplified signal rather than the standard actual raw log output of the step.
Okay.
So what we did here is enhanced it to a couple of things. One is out of the box, allow users to select a status symbol to go with that progress badge, and then pass it as a context variable so that it can be sent to other tools like PagerDuty or Slack or what have you. And what we the reasons we did those is that it became clear that this was a very easy way to provide simplified output for our diagnostics use case of Rundeck and process automation. And so that's what I'll demo here in a second. And we'll dig into the details there.
Cool.
And then the last one is as a new plugin of being able to invoke saved CloudWatch logs queries. So we had a plugin that we talked about previously around being able to make queries to CloudWatch logs. That previous plugin requires users to actually place their logs query into Rundeck itself. This new plugin allows for triggering a saved query that you would have in your CloudWatch interface in your AWS account. So we have a number of users who have said they have a lot of saved queries. They don't want to have to copy and paste that query into Rundeck. So those are the three major updates. We've got a number of the traditional updates and fixes. So we fixed a Jira notification plugin that showed a password in certain situations, fixed unexpected failure reasons, so the usual there. But unless there are any questions, I can go ahead and dig into demoing some of these highlights here.
No, nothing in the chat yet, but for folks joining us, if you do have a question, you can add it in the chat and we'll answer it here live.
All right, so let's go ahead and present the screen. All right, so I'm actually going to just start this one actually from the...
Hang on, I'm not seeing your thing yet.
Oh, sorry, I didn't share. There we go. Here we go.
There we go.
Nice.
All right.
So this one will actually start just from the PagerDuty interface to kind of show what this end-to-end workflow looks like. So if you're in PagerDuty on an incident, and this could be in the mobile app, the web app, and then we'll show actually in Slack. When I use automation actions to invoke a diagnostic job here, we can see that I've chosen the job I want and send over the necessary data. So I'm going to click Run Job, and I'm going to jump into Process Automation, and we should see that invoked our job here. And what this is doing is it's retrieving diagnostics from multiple sources. So we can see here it's sourcing data from Kubernetes pod logs, and then what we see here is this progress badge, right? So this is that simplified text output that I was referencing earlier, along with an emoticon to represent the actual status of that source of data. We went ahead and checked our Elastic Load Balancer, that's reporting healthy, and then we actually checked the AWS RSS feed, and that's also reporting healthy. So all of these are reporting healthy, and then what ends up happening is that for that first responder that may or may not be well versed in all of that diagnostic verbose data, what they want and what they need is this simplified output. And so that's what gets posted back to PagerDuty and even to Slack. And so actually let me stop sharing for a second and go over to Slack to show what that looks like as well.
That makes it really obvious, like which piece is failing.
Yeah. Can I share? Present. Share screen. There we go. So here, can you see that now?
Oh, yeah.
Right. So here's the PagerDuty incident, and you can see that actually there's a recording of me invoking that job just a minute ago, and the action was running, and then a note was added to the timeline, and it shows that same exact simplified diagnostic output. And so for responders in the heat of the moment of an incident, need to make decisions quickly. And so this tells them, okay, you can actually skip over steps, 1 and 2 of your typical response steps, right? Your response tasks of checking the cloud provider, checking the load balancer. You can actually jump straight to checking Kubernetes, and that's all because of this enhanced progress badge here.
That's super slick.
So that's the enhanced progress badge, and we can quickly just dig into where users set that up. So on a given job step, you'll see those, it's a log filter here. So when I configure that, I'm basically saying, like, what am I looking for in the raw log output? And if I find that, then this progress badge gets activated. So in this case, it's saying unhealthy, and we have the red check mark. And here, this is where users can select, is it green or is it red? And then that context variable is how they actually post it back to PagerDuty or use it in subsequent steps. So it's pretty, all things considered, pretty straightforward.
Yeah, but super helpful and really powerful for all these kinds of workflows. So yeah, awesome.
Yeah. So then the ROI metrics, we're going to actually see this on the same job here. So the ROI metrics data is what we call an execution lifecycle plugin. And what that means is that it's a new setting that you can configure at the job level. And what you see here is I've added a metric, an ROI metric for minutes saved, right? And what I've basically done is said, okay, for each time that this job is invoked, that translates to 5 minutes saved. But I could add multiple ROI metrics here, such as escalations avoided, right? And I'll just go ahead and add that here. And maybe that's, 2, right? 1 or 2 escalations avoided. And so I can go ahead and save that. And now when we look at our prior executions of this job, there's a new tab. So we have our traditional log output, but we now have our ROI metrics data tab. And you can see for the given execution, minutes saved was 5, right? So regardless of the job duration, we know that we, on average, we're saving 5 minutes of incident response time, or again, service request time. I don't have the demo of aggregating this data set up, but all of this data is now available via API in a kind of clean JSON format. And so it's then easy to say, okay, I want to pipe that into Snowflake or Redshift or my own database to then visualize in a BI tool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah.
So those are the main points. Can dig into the CloudWatch Logs plugin, and that one is, like I said, pretty straightforward too. Let me stop sharing here. But yeah, any questions from the channel?
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions about this? Have you tried the earlier version of the CloudWatch, or anyone out there using this stuff already? We'd love to hear from you about what you're doing with that. I did post in the chat a bit about the execution lifecycle plugins. If folks aren't familiar with that terminology, there's stuff in the documentation about what those are and what those do, as well as all the documentation on the new stuff that's in this release. And if you want to sign up for the release notes, if you don't get those, I can find that link for you as well. And yeah. So this is super cool. Like looking at, especially around like the automated diagnostics components, when you're looking at, metrics around, I'm going to run these jobs as soon as the incident comes in, and then I have the ROI of that. Like all of that compounds into how much time you're saving on your mean time to resolve for the issues and incidents that are coming in on these platforms that you're able to automate around. So you're saving so much time for yourself, you're saving your customers time and degraded experience, and all these great things that lead to better outcomes for all your teams. So
yeah. And so that ability to track, right, what we're saving, it's interesting how some customers we speak with are tracking that data fairly diligently. Others are trying to track that data, but a lot of it is done by just like the tickets that are created.
Yeah.
Incidents, they're a little bit more diligent about tracking, but just like general day-to-day service requests, they're finding it a little bit more hard to track that. So for them, yeah, this is a pretty neat feature. But yeah, it's interesting how like, yeah, both the progress badge enhancement and the ROI can play into one another, because the whole point of that enhanced progress badge is to make the decision making during incidents faster and easier, and reduce the number of people that get pulled in. And we talk to customers all day long, and first responders, like we saw that like the Kubernetes health check was the one that was unhealthy, but to determine that it's unhealthy, we need to read through those Kubernetes logs and see that there's a failure there, or know that when it says failure, that's an actual failure, right? And so you can get your Kubernetes SME or domain expert to define what does unhealthy look like when we parse those Kubernetes logs, and then that first responder knows like, okay, it is the Kubernetes, let's start looking there, or I should ping someone from that team. And so the reason I say that this all ties together is that then leads to an ROI, right, of reduced escalations or faster time to diagnose and time to resolve.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, because like logs are weird, and there can be spurious things in them that look like errors, but actually it turns out that that's your normal operating state. So yeah, having the folks who know the thing best sort of encapsulate all of their knowledge, put it in those jobs, and then have it in a format that everyone else understands is great.
Yeah. And it's human, right? It's like human nature to pull in multiple people just to like play it safe. We've heard from customers like they cast a wide net, right? To again, keep that time to resolve down. And you do that by calling in all of the domain experts.
Everyone, yes.
Exactly. And so if we can try to just alter that behavior just a little bit by saying like, hey, we're based off of defined health checks, okay, the load balancer is okay, the platform is okay, it's the Kubernetes pod, maybe it was a problem with pulling the latest container image, right? So that's the gist of it.
Awesome. Well, cool. Doesn't look like we have any questions in the chat yet, but if folks do have questions, you can join our community forums, community.pagerduty.com, and the Rundeck folks are over there hanging out. Or if you're already in the Rundeck Google group, there's plenty of folks hanging out there with lots of good advice and guides there. What else is coming up? Anything else you can tease out for the next release?
For the next release, I can tease out is it was actually shown very briefly in the demo, is that plugin that is able to pull cloud health events. So what we were showing is like the AWS Health was a plugin that's designed to pull the RSS feeds from it's a public cloud provider or a SaaS provider, and so when there's an incident, you want to know, like, is it us or is it them, right? So is it, and so what that does is it makes it easy to say, like, hey, check, status.github.com, status.docker.com, and then you should, Amazon's status there. So that's next release. And then also next release is a completely enhanced way, I'd say, overhauled way to define credentials and authentication for plugins at large. And what that's going to do is make it easier for users to define credentials for a whole suite of plugins. So today you have to, if you're going to define like your AWS node source for EC2s, you define your settings and your credentials there in the node source. And then if you're going to set up a job step, you have to define it, in the job step or at the project level. And if you have a notification plugin, and so on and so forth. And so what this does is it provides a nice GUI around defining properties, mainly credentials, but generally speaking, properties for entire plugin suites. So
that sounds awesome.
Major enhancement coming out.
Yeah.
4.8.
Sweet. That sounds fantastic. We'll be excited to see that when it's released and you're back on the stream again.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. I don't see any questions in the chat. Again, folks want to reach out to the community forums if you do come across anything you'd like to know. And if you'd like to sign up for the release notes, that link is also in the chat. That way you get these as soon as they come out, and you already kind of know what's coming when you join us on the stream here. And yeah, so everybody will be in the know. So we'll be back in a couple more weeks with the next release. I'm not sure what the schedule will be, but we'll be ready to go when that happens. So yeah, awesome. Anything else for the people today, Jake?
Keep on keeping on.
Right? Yes. Happy Wednesday, everybody. We'll wish you all an uneventful week. We here at PagerDuty are off on Friday, so the next stream on this channel will be on Monday, and we'll see you then. So thanks for joining us, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, Mandy.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you never miss a stream. Follow us at PD Community and PagerDuty on twitch.tv. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you'd like to be on our stream, email us at community-team@pagerduty.com so we can feature the cool things you're doing. And don't forget, check out all of our global events on our calendar at pagerduty.com/events.